There's the Disney Skyliner in the distance there, and we are heading into what I refer to as Disney MGM Studios. It is the Disney Hollywood Studios now, but it's always hard to not call it, MGM, especially if you're having small talk with someone. It's a place that I grew up with, and it's a place that opened right after I was born, May 1st, 1989. I was born in 88, November of 88. And today's episode is going to be something a little special to me, and hopefully it's something a little special to you. Hi everybody, and welcome to the World of Micah. Today we're going to be at Disney's Hollywood Studios, and I'm going to be matching up photos from construction of this park and around the grand opening with some handprint photos. All kinds of stuff's going to be covered today here at Disney Hollywood Studios. Almost called it MGM Studios. But this place, for the longest time, was my favorite theme park, and more or less it still is to this day. A lot has changed in this park, but I'm 33 years old, and in 33 years a lot has changed for me as well. So I always like to revisit this park, see how much has changed, and kind of reminisce about the yesteryear days of this park. And I figured you guys would want to tag along with me, match up some photos, and see how much has changed here at Disney's Hollywood Studios. We are still celebrating 50 years of Walt Disney World, and MGM is a part of that celebration as well. Even though it has not been here since October 1st, 1971, it still is joining into the festivities of the 50 years of Walt Disney World. Now, let's take a closer look. Made it to the park entrance. I still remember when this said Disney MGM Studios right up there. I love that it's still the same font, and the fact that you can see Mickey right up there, the crossroads. All right, let's head inside. Well, good morning to you, Bo. I'm sure you've seen a lot of changes in this place since 1989. How long have you been here? That's the real question. How long have you been in this park? All right, I'm gonna go have fun. Bye. All right, the first photo we're gonna match up is right about here. It's one of my favorites. It's Bob Weiss and a few other construction guys who are working on building this park. Now, Bob Weiss was the executive producer for Disney MGM Studios, and you can see they had just built the facade of the Chinese Theater. Did you know that the top of that, the very top in the center, was hoisted up on a crane to be placed? We'll get into that a little later on, but I love this photo of Bob and the other guys standing around looking at what they had completed. This is what it looks like current day. It's no longer the Great Movie Ride. It's home to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Now, this is one of my favorite photos right here. You can see they are still nowhere near being done with completion of the Great Movie Ride, the Chinese Theater. All of this is still dirt, still survey marks, there's still construction happening, scaffolding, everything. And then a couple of months later, or years, depending on where this was in the timeline of construction, this is what would appear. Now, this photo was from the grand opening of the Great Movie Ride. They had a big stage show here, a lot of dancers and confetti and fireworks, traditional Disney grand opening style. This is what it looks like current day. Also, I want to show you guys what the crowd looked like from that day as well. And then we're going to get into some construction photos, matching up how exactly they built some of this. And right about here, this is what it looked like. Look at all the thousands of people crammed into this area, waiting to ride the Great Movie Ride for the very first time, among some of the first guests to ever ride the Great Movie Ride. My favorite ride that no longer exists. Now, right over here is a photograph of Brock Tommen, who was the project architect for the Chinese Theater. Did a lot of research, and he built this magnificent full-scale reproduction of the Chinese Theater from out in Hollywood. And this is a photograph of him standing here in front of the entrance, and you can see the top middle part, the top hat essentially of this building was not yet hoisted up and put into place. I'm gonna show you guys exactly what that dedication looked like. It was more or less just for the construction guys and the project guys. We're gonna walk over there and look at some handprints as well. Right over here in the courtyard is where they had it. You can see them smashing some champagne, officially dedicating this, and then they hoisted it up and put it into place, and that's where it's sat ever since. In fact, they had the cranes right here. You can see them lifting it up, and they placed it right here. I'm sitting around and watching it being hoisted up and put into place. And here's a photo of Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman, putting his signature in here. This was February 13th, 1989. And John Ritter's handprint and footprints right here. As you can see in the photograph, he actually did stand just like his footprints are. He stood like that. He didn't take off his shoes and put them in the cement. He stood just like that. There they are. Someone else who did their handprint a little goofy was Harry Anderson. You can see in the photograph him putting his hands crisscrossed. And this is the handprints now. And then right here is Mickey Mouse, and he was down here, and they used a photograph of him and Minnie and Donald and Roger Rabbit right here. They're still here to this day. And this is where Dick Van Dyke got down and put his handprints in, right here. In fact, the photograph was right about here. See the tree in the background as well. And it's still here, which is amazing. There's no date on Dick Van Dyke's signature though. Now there's obviously a lot of foliage over here right now, trees and plants and whatnot, but right here's a photograph of Bob Weiss and those same construction men looking at the Chinese theater, but they're standing in front of the SS down the hatch, and that is still being built. That's pretty cool to me, man. And I'm gonna stand here at this photo spot and show how much this has changed. The main entrance here to what was the backlot, the original backlot entrance, and then the entrance to the animation studio as well. And you can see Randy Prince, who was the project director for Disney MGM Studios, standing here. I think he was actually sitting down, but nonetheless, you can see how much that sign has changed. And the hat that Randy is wearing, I actually own that hat. It's blue trucker hat, Disney MGM Studios on it. This is what it looks like current day. They did change the sign for the 30th. It was updated from a while back. So this is the third version of this sign. And the one thing I like to point out of this sign is the original sketches along the side here remain from around the opening. I love this. The cartoonist drawing Donald here, and then the Carthay Circle up here where they premiere Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and then them working on an actual film, a sci-fi film, and the Chinese theater here. Go down. This guy is working on animating Goofy in the film strips. But let's match up some photos through here at the former home of the original entrance to the Backlot tour and the animation studio. Now right up here, this used to be the entrance to the Walt Disney Theater here. I'm not sure exactly what was housed inside this. It's later turned into the Little Mermaid and the studio store, but this was the original building dedicated to Walt as the Walt Disney Theater. In fact, you can see where it says the Walt Disney Theater on the side of the building and the top of the spires of the Great Movie Ride, the former home of the Great Movie Ride, and Fred Newman standing in line here waiting to go into the Backlot tour. Right here. Isn't that crazy? It's changed so much. And then right over here was the animation building. This was eventually the animation building here. And they had a dedication with a few of the guys who were part of Walt's 9 Old Men. And Roy E. Disney dedicated this animation building here. Used to say animation on the side of that. Now this is the launch bay cargo exit. But I'm not sure if that's still open. I know they're doing character meet and greets in here, but I don't think you exit through this store anymore. And this area has changed. We got Pluto over here and Vampirina is leaving, but you can see this little glass right here, right behind Roy E. Disney and the animators in this photo. Now the backstage tour dedication was on April 29th, 1989. Michael Eisner and Bette Midler and Mickey Mouse lined up right here in front of this old entrance and dedicated this, as you can see in the photograph here. Pretty cool. Dedicated it right before the park opened, May 1st, 1989. Now check this out. You can see one of the guys spraying the paint here on the side of the Hollywood Brown Derby. Everything still pretty much looks the same. This is before the park even opened. Made a little ladder and standing right up there. Before this was the Hyperion Theater, this was Superstar Television. It's had a few other shows that were housed in this building, but this is where Superstar Television premiered. And you can see Fred Newman standing right here in front of the theater. It was presented by Sony. A lot of memories inside this theater. This is where you could go in and they would green screen and put you into some of your favorite television shows such as Home Improvement, I Love Lucy. It was pretty awesome. This is about as close as I can get, but this is a little weird. But Gertie, the dinosaur, does not have eyes in this construction photo. And you can see the gentleman at the very top of the building, right in front of Gertie, painting and putting some touches on the construction. And if you wanted to know what this area next to the Primetime Cafe looked like prior to opening, well, here's a photograph of Joe Kilinowski, the project architect, giving an interview right here with a lot of scaffolding and guys hard at work, creating the Hollywood that never was and always will be. And then it happened. May 1st, 1989, the studios officially opened. The world you have entered was created by the Walt Disney Company and is dedicated to the Hollywood, not a place on the map, but a state of mind that exists wherever people dream and wonder and imagine. A place where illusion and reality are fused by technological magic. We welcome you to a Hollywood that never was and always will be. May 1st, 1989, Michael D. Eisner here. And I love this scene of the gentleman interviewing well, more or less talking about the first family walking in with Bob Hope and Michael Eisner and Mickey Mouse. And you can see the old Shell Theater straight ahead long before Sunset Boulevard would open. And let's talk about the very first family that ever stepped foot in this park. There was a family that was selected at the beginning of the day by Michael Eisner. And they got to walk in with Mickey and Bob Hope. And there were a lot of photographs taken of them. If you guys know that family's last name, a little bit of a trivia question for you, comment below. You can easily find it. It's out there. Let me know if you know. And there goes Bob Chapek walking into work. It's crazy. But right here was where the family, the first family to ever step foot officially into this place, was walking with Bob Hope, Mickey Minnie, Michael Eisner. It's pretty cool. Imagine being picked on that historic day and seeing this for the very first time. Man, that's amazing, right? And even though things always change, I still have a soft spot for nostalgia. I love it. You know, and looking back at history, it's more or less just the history of it all, because there's not much history, you know, in the parks. Every now and then you'll see a photograph, you know, of what went into creating these places, but I like to more or less create those documents myself and put them out there for people who ever just wondered, what did this look like when they were constructing, you know? Not a lot of people know that that was put in separately. It's just a lot of little things like that that I always like to be reminded of. Well, we came, we saw, we took care of business here today at Disney's Hollywood Studios, tracking down some photographs from construction and the grand opening of this place. This was a lot of fun, and this will not be the last time we dive into some history of this park. But it is time to say goodbye. If you enjoyed this episode, please click that thumbs up button. The next time you're here at Disney's Hollywood Studios, tell someone World of Micah sent you, and I will see you guys on the next adventure. Until then, stay weird. Goodbye.